Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Arshalahi. I'd like to thank you all this evening for being with us. I appreciate there's lots of things that you could be doing. It's nice and sunny outside still. We've still got a bit of daylight. And I'd also like to introduce another person that we got online tonight, a person to the name of Neal Ward. Neal, you with us?
Yes, I have got you, Ash. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Right, okay. Kicking this off the right way, should I say. Uh, on the right hand side of your screen, you should have a box which says questions. If you can, just so that we know that everyone can hear us correctly and clearly, if you can just put yes or no, that'd be fantastic. Okay, so a few people already coming in saying, yeah, they can hear us. This box is also your opportunity to ask us any questions, and I'll be monitoring this box throughout the whole presentation. Now, tonight's webinar is going to be something that everyone should be able to do. More importantly, you do not require money to do this strategy, hence why it is such a popular strategy to do. Now, when we talk about cash flow and strategies, first thing that people normally talk about is rent to rent. And rent to rent, to be fair, is a good strategy. But tonight, the things that we're going to be talking about is how to make mass money quickly. So, without further ado, let's start talking about how to find and source deals the easy way. So, just a little bit about myself and Neal. Right, I run a group of 10 property companies with my brother Akilahi, and together we're landlords and letting agents, and we've been letting property since 1973, which technically isn't correct because I wasn't born until 1980. But my father
Hmm.
had a small portfolio, and when I left university at the year 2000, I decided to take it on, manage it, see where we were going wrong, improve it, and grow it massively. And now we've got well in excess of 500 tenants and is growing daily. And we've got an impressive 100% rent collection record with a very high 98% occupancy rate. Now, uh, just so that I know, does everyone subscribe to a magazine called YPN, Your Property Network? If you don't, you should be, because it's probably one of the only publications which is dedicated for property professionals, but is also written by property professionals. For a small fee, I think it's of £6.95. You get so much knowledge, and I've picked up so many golden nuggets from the magazine itself. So definitely worth a read. And believe it or not, I write in it as well. So just another tip for you there. So that's enough about me, but who's Neal? Neal, do you want to take this away?
Yeah, thank you, Ash. So what we're doing is we're keeping our intros really short now because we want to give as much content as possible to you guys out there. So I'll do the same and keep it really short. So I started in property in 2005. So this is it's actually in 2 weeks' time. It'll be exactly 10 years since I bought my first house. So we'll have a party, Ash, for that one. So I've got a portfolio of houses and flats in Coventry, and I have been doing that for the last 10 years. I took a little bit of time off during the crash, but yeah, getting back on the horse now and really ramping it up. So my work history is I was in the British Army, retired as a sergeant, so I did that for 10 years. I did a lot of other businesses whilst I was in the army as well. But my main thing that most people know me for is a professional speaker and as an entrepreneur. So I own lots of different businesses. I'm a marketing consultant, and I'm probably most well known for my sales training events, which I run all over the world now. So my main focus in property is rent to rent. So again, I think I'm known in the industry for acquiring 5 grand within the first 5 months. So that was very, very quick for me and good. And also I do deal sourcing. So that's why I'm helping Ash with the trainings, because I source, goodness, I don't know, a dozen deals a month easily, but actually what I complete on is a different matter, which is the same for most people. You can source unlimited deals a month, but what's a good deal is slightly different. So I close about 2 deals per month on average, and that might sound like not a lot, but you'll be shocked when we talk some numbers shortly on what you can actually make from sourcing deals. It's unbelievable. I'm also entrepreneur in residence for Coventry University, and I think that's about enough. We'll move on, Ash.
Okay, so the one thing that me and Neil like to know is we all always try to figure out who we got online, but more importantly, why are you here? What do you want to do in property, or what do you want to get from
Ash,
it?
do you want to get a bit closer to your microphone?
Is that better?
Yeah, there we go. Got you now. You sound like you were talking. Your laptop's in the other room.
Okay, right. Okay, so what we always like to know is who we've got online with us tonight. More importantly, why are you here, and what do you want to get from property, or why do you want to get involved in property? So if you can, just in the right hand corner, just type in um, what's your goal, what's your why, and we'll start to monitor these and still go through these. So we've listed a couple of the most common ones there. Okay, so far everything's
What are the main
everyone,
ones coming up,
yeah,
Ash?
everyone's more towards financial freedom,
Yeah,
be your own boss, create jobs, become an entrepreneur, to get time free.
fantastic.
Okay, alleviate health issues. Someone wants to move to South Africa. Yeah.
Great.
Okay. So we've got a real variety, but I think the main common theme there is financial freedom.
Wow. Yeah, yeah, and that's my favorite topic actually. So I can definitely help anyone with that wants to know more about that. So fantastic. Yeah. If we go to the next slide, then.
Okay. Right. Okay. So Neil, do you want to take this through?
Yeah. I'll actually just do a little spin-off today because I mean most people know my commitment anyway. I'm very, and I'll be honest about it. Before, I used to be so focused on money that it was ridiculous. I wanted the lifestyle, the cars, the holidays, all of that. And the funny thing is, once you get that stuff, you realize that actually you don't really want it at all. That's the thing that shocked me and made me laugh really. So once I got it all, I didn't really want it, and it wasn't that I didn't want it, but what I realized was that what I really wanted was the freedom, and the freedom was the happiness. That's really what I was after. Um, so that is my commitment really to everyone, is to help you to create happiness in your life, and that's through education, which is by generating money. So it's not the money itself that gives you the freedom or the happiness, it's what the money actually leads to. So better health, stronger relationships, adventure and travel, more time, closer families. And just on the first one, health, I just want to share something real quick. I was actually went to a car boot sale on Sunday, which for a lot of the students, they know I go to car boot sales now. I'll talk about that later. Why? It's quite a funny, interesting story. But it saves me thousands and thousands of pounds every month by doing this. But I met, just on the off chance, a guy that I was in the army with 8 years ago. And like me, he was a bit of a high flyer, flew through the ranks. And what he said to me was really sad actually over the weekend. He'd worked all the way up as high as he could go as a soldier now, and he said that a few months ago he had a brain hemorrhage, and he didn't even know how to walk, how to talk, or anything. And even now he's forgotten a lot of things. And his son was there, and his son was poking fun at his dad, this tough soldier who's now he's calling him a wimp and all this sort of stuff. But it just really made me realize how short life is. He was super fit and sharp and alert, and now, he's well, he's still a fantastic guy, but he's not the man he was. And it made me realise how short life is. And what he'd realised was he'd worked his backside off all this time to get to where he is. And he hadn't really spent time with his family. He'd been away on operational tours. He'd been working every weekend. He'd been working day and night. And now he's leaving. He's actually leaving next month. And yeah, I mean, he's going to spend time with his family. And I just thought it was a really great story that I wanted to share with you all because it touched me. So, yeah, great, just so amazing, really. Should we
Okay.
go to the next slide, Ash?
So, sorry, Neil. Just before we move any further, can everyone hear us okay? Because Neil's, for me, seems to be chopping in and out. So, if you are you able to move slightly closer to your machine, Neil?
I'm right next to it, actually, Ash.
See, that's better. Okay, fine. Can everyone just
Okay,
can you just check back in with everyone? Can you still hear us correctly? And if you can, just say a yes or no. One person said that the Leicester left. Okay, some people interesting. Okay, yeah, no, we're good to go. Right, so
okay,
moving
great.
forward then, Neil. What is BMV?
Do
Do
you
you
want to take this one?
Yeah, can do. Okay, for those that don't know, we're going to start it from the very beginning. BMV stands for below market value. And it was well, it still is very popular. And prior to 2006, mortgage lenders such as Mortgage Express would allow you to buy a property and refinance it on the same day, allowing you to take near enough all your cash out of the deal. And there were so many investors that were doing this. They were buying it. And just to give you an example, let's say the house was worth £100,000. They would negotiate a discount from the vendor at approximately £80,000. Now, on the day of completion, they would have already had a refinance going through, which would simultaneously land on the same day of the completion. So, on the same time that you complete, you own it for 5 minutes, and then your solicitor would instruct the refinance. And let's just say the refinance was at 85% loan to value. The refinance company would give you 85,000, which means that you would have had all your money back, plus all your purchase costs, and possibly even a cash back as well. And it was a fantastic time to be in property because people were cashing out on property. But unfortunately, that doesn't happen anymore. Do you want to take this one? What's the pros and cons, and why is it important to buy BMV, Neil?
Yeah, okay. So for me, Arsh is really big on BMV. He swears by it. And the thing that everyone laughs about with me and Arsh, we're completely yin and yang. We're so different. It's unbelievable. And we disagree on so many things, which is really funny. But yeah, it's still so powerful. And people always say that they love that aspect because because it's so different and powerful and gives different perspectives. So I'm gonna talk mention the pros, and I'll also mention the cons and some of the stuff I do. So firstly, with the below market value, if you can get a property below market value, which is not as difficult as you might think, you actually make the money straight away. So you make the money when you buy, not when you sell the property. Secondly, you can pull your cash money back out and recycle that cash again every 6 months. Now, like Ash said, it used to be instantly. You could just recycle the cash on the day, buy another one, recycle the cash on the day, but not anymore. There's something called the 6 month rule, which is a lot of people know about now, and a lot of people hate it. Some people like it, but most people don't like it because it really restricts you from doing that. And that sort of thing was put in to slow down investors and what they were doing. And it really is infinity cash flow. It really is. Now, they're the benefits of below market value in that you can pull out so much money and you make money when you buy it. The disadvantages, and this is from my point of view, you don't always have to buy BMV because often the deal still stacks up even at market value. Yeah, and I'll mention this in a second. But the second point is if you try to go too low, especially in this market at the moment, For example, in the West Midlands, there is no property on the market at the minute. Well, obviously there's property on, but there's a very short supply. There's hardly anything available. And just to really emphasize this point, I've got a house at the moment that I wanna sell on. I went to the agents. I thought, well, it's probably worth 110. I went to the agents, and all three of them, and then my friends, these agents, they all said the same thing. I'll get you 125. I'll get you 128. I'll get you 130, because loads of investors are looking to buy at the moment, and they had investors waiting, but they had no stock. So, it's a crazy market at the moment. Right, what was I going to mention on that one? You don't always have to buy BMV. Yeah, so the reason I was mentioning that then, sometimes if you try and go too low, you will lose a deal. So at the moment, there's not a lot of stock. So to try and do BMV is going to be a little bit tricky. So if I look at a deal and I see that it stacks up, so I'm still going to make a lot of money from it. Property prices are rising at the moment. There's not really a lot on the radar that's going to cause another crash that I can see. Although, caveat, don't quote me on that. So I think they're the main things of BMV. Ash, have you got anything you want to add on it?
No, no, I think you've covered the most main points there. Okay, but let's keep moving forward because we want to get to the meat of the webinar.
Yeah,
To the all we're doing at the moment is giving you the main structure of what BMV is. So there's lots of different ways of best ways to source deals in property, and straightforward are you can go direct to the vendor, which is what Neal is very good with. There's property sources, which I'm very good with. You can source properties through estate agents or commercial agents, which both of us do, as well as family and friends, army of tradespeople, which is actually something that not many people do, but if you do it correctly, you can actually get a lot of deals. And just to give you an
have a
example,
guess who comes up with the army of tradespeople.
army being the operative word. Um, Only this week, my roofer came to me with a deal because everyone that I speak to, I always tell them that I'm on the lookout for more property. And if they mention it to me, and if I can buy it, I give them a little incentive, or just like what's the best way of saying it? As the old people would have said it, I'll give you a drink. But he bought me a cracking deal, and we're in the process of buying that. And as a small thank you from me, he's going to earn anything up to £1,000 for that property. Now that will incentivize him to go off and find me more stock. He's actually come back to me this evening, just before the webinar, and told me that he's found another flat that one of his friends is selling. So it works to pay people. Now some people will be too tight and might give him a little bit of money, whereas if you incentivize them properly, they're going to go out and they're going to work for you. And all these people will act like little soldiers. And that's the best way of describing them. They'll act like little soldiers. They'll go out, and you won't have to do much sourcing because they will bring the deals to you. You want to be that authority figure. Now, there are lots of other top secret strategies, wink, wink, that we're going to be talking about a little later on. Now, we've kept this one. Neal's doing deal at the moment, but he's kept it very secretive because he didn't want to put it on the slides, but he's going to talk about it. So, Neal, it's completely over to you.
Yeah, so Ash, what I was going to talk about is a couple of deals that I've done recently that haven't made me quite as much as Ash's recent deals, but I probably netted about 20 something thousand from both. So that's what I was going to talk about. But Ash has asked me to talk about this deal, this what I'm jokingly calling the top secret deal I'm doing at the minute. Um, I haven't put any pictures or anything like that, but I've got all the numbers here on my phone, and I'm just going to run through these for you now, just to show you an example of what you can do at the very top end of this market. And I'll also mention, the bottom end of the market as well. So, in fact, let me start with the bottom then. So, the bottom end of the market is basically, as a sourcer, you going out and finding a deal. It might be like Ash said, a flat, for example. So you might find a flat, someone wants to sell it, and they've already got tenants in, for example. So you look at that and you say, okay, well that's an ongoing investment. I could sell that, flip it really easily, and you'd make very small money on that. So we're talking maybe £3,000. That would be your sourcing fee. So yes, I know for everyone that's thinking that's not a lot, it's not a huge amount of money, but you only need to do a few of those a month and you're making very good money. So £3,000 is really the bottom of the market. You'll never make less than that on the sourcing fee. Now here's the top end of the market, which is a deal I'm doing at the moment. It's not complete yet. The contract is with the vendor for signature, but in theory it's all done now. It just comes down to this last signature. So this property is it's been on the market for several years, and because it's commercial, it's quite difficult to shift because there's only certain things that can be done with it. Now, I know the planning department, so I've spoken to them. I've looked at all the plans that have been rejected. I've gone back and forth. I know the vendor through a club I'm associated with, not a nightclub, a social club. So I know the vendor. We've sat down. We've gone through so many different options back and forth. My builder, who's my business partner on it, has looked at it. The architects looked at it, and what we've figured out is that we can actually get one, two. We've actually figured out that we can get 6 flats from this property. And the sale price of all of this is going to be about just over £800,000, maybe 850. So we're saying 800 conservatively. That's if we develop it. So if we develop it ourselves, just using bridging finance, so it's very simple deal because the builder will do it all. After all the costs, so the purchase price, which will be on an option, so I won't even need to pay the owner any money until it's all complete and we're selling the unit. It's only going to be about 150 to 200k build cost on it. So because it's already there, the structure's already there, it just needs stripping. So we're easily going to pull out as a minimum £300,000 if we were to do this deal, and it's going to take about 9 months. £300,000. So this is the top end of the market. And that's after all costs, finance costs and build costs and all of that. The other option for me is, from having my sourcing head on, I can just flip this on with a planning permission, and I'm pretty confident I would still make £100,000. What do you think to that, Ash?
That's good going.
You still there?
Yeah, I'm still here, and that's good going. I'm not sure if it's going to be
Yeah. So
3 deals that I'm going to be putting forward in a second, but we'll see.
wow. Well, so deals like this do not come around very often, but when they do, um, you've really just got to grab them with both hands. And actually, that's what me and Ash do to help people as well. So if you ever do come across one of these, we'll help you put it together anyway. So I mean, that is more money than most people make in several years from one deal. That if I package it and sell it, the fee will be around £100,000 on that. So that's the top end of the market, and we talked about what the bottom end of the market is. And I'm going to hand you over to Ash now to go through his examples.
Okay. Right. Okay. So I made a decision at the end of last year that I wasn't going to buy. I'm still buying property, but I'm going to be really choosy about the ones that I'm going to buy to keep. I'm only going to purchase properties now to source on or flip, should I say. So here's a property that I'm at the moment doing anywhere between 5 and 10 sourcing deals a month, and the minimum sourcing fee that I want to achieve is £5,000 a deal. That's the absolute minimum. So work on the basis that as a minimum that I'm doing 5 deals a month with a minimum fee of 5k, means that I'm going to be making £25,000, and I don't actually own any of the property. All I'm doing is I'm controlling the transaction. So we're going to be talking to you about this one here. So I got approached. I advertised quite heavily in lots of different medias, and here's a property that came to me in Wolverhampton, which is my hometown. Vendor just wanted a speedy transaction. Now, I looked at it and thought, okay, it's a house, all singing, all dancing. It probably would be worth circa around 130. It needs money spending on it. There's no structural issues, just needs modernising. And the vendor wanted a turnaround time within 28 days, and he's happy to give it at a discount. So we managed to pull it in for £80,000. Now, as I said, I don't want to buy it to keep it for rental, because as a rental, it'll probably achieve circa around between £550 and £600 a month. Now, on the basis that that's going to be generating around £7,000 a year in rental income, I want to be able to make my money be in and out as quickly as possible. And that's the best thing with flipping and sourcing, that you'll probably own the asset. If you do own it, you'll probably own it for the best part of a minute. I picked up the phone to an investor that I've got that I know is cash rich and hungry for deals, and I sold it him for £90,000 because I sourced it well. We've got it at a good discount, and my sourcing fee for one day's work. He wanted to come over and have a look at it, so I orchestrated a viewing, and I made £10,000 for one day's work. Now that's, would you say, Neil? Now, one question is that why don't you make it a HMO? Now, this is one question, and I've actually just wrote my article for YPN magazine for May. I could very easily keep this deal because it is well below market value, and if I structured it correctly, I could do it where I've got no money left in the deal. But unfortunately, I'd say, when I say unfortunate, I think I'm at a point now with over 500 tenants that I've got far more than enough property to keep. And the point is, you've got to ask yourself, when is the cut-off point? Now, the more properties that you have, the more tenants you have, the more maintenance issues and the more calls you get. Now, I want a hassle-free life, and so what I've decided that now, if I can buy a property and sell it and make money in the middle without actually owning it quickly, I'm going to make a lot more cash flow that way than as if I would to buy it and rent it out. So I made £10,000 just on that one deal. Now, here's the second one. This one took me slightly longer, and it's a pub up in Oldham. And the beauty with it is that if I was buying stuff to keep or to hold, my radius would be an hour's drive from Wolverhampton. But when I'm sourcing property, my radius can be anywhere in the UK or even abroad. So it could be worldwide, providing that you got buyers for it. Now, someone approached me for this pub in Oldham. Believe it or not, the vendor of this approached me via Facebook because he saw that I'm quite vocal on Facebook, and he said to me, "I've got a pub. It's a rundown pub. It's actually shut down. It's not trading, and I want to get rid of it." I went over and had a look at it. So I drove up to Oldham, which took me a couple of hours. I had a look at it, and I saw that it actually had potential for quite a large HMO. So we were looking at a 12-bed HMO. I got my architect, and I also met the planning department from Oldham Council at the property. I didn't apply for planning permission, but I just got their consent to say, yeah, they think, subject to an application, that they wouldn't see any issues why it would refuse planning unless we had some real objections from the neighbours. And with that basis, and from the hearsay of what they said, I sold it for 110. So agreed 80 with the vendor, sold it for £110,000. I made £30,000 for 1 week's worth of work. The 1 week was going to meet the vendor. Second travel up was to go and meet the planning team and my architect. Third one was to meet the purchaser, and that's all it was. Few phone calls in between, but I appraised the situation. I created it into a proposition where a buyer can look at it with my vision, and we sold it on the basis that it's got so much more potential. So someone's, where do you advertise these deals, Arsh, for investors? Well, first thing that I do is that I advertise them on my website, which is arshalahi.com/deals. Someone's put, how do you find a good architect? I've been using the same architect for 15 years. And I'm glad to say that he's never actually got me a refusal. As soon as we know something's about to be refused or if it's going the wrong way, we withdraw the application. And I'm more than happy to share the details of the architect should you require it, or you can send me a message after the webinar and I'll share his details. Now, here's another property, again, not in Wolverhampton. It's actually up in Middleton, which is 5 miles out of Manchester city centre. It's a monster of a property, and I thought it was the best property that I saw this year so far. It's an 8-bedroom detached property in Middleton. Now, Middleton is, I would say, possibly the slightly more deprived area of Manchester. I got approached by, believe it or not, this was through an estate agent. They called me and said, well, we haven't had much luck with selling it on the market. Would you be interested? So again, went up to Middleton, had a look at it. I saw the potential straight away as soon as I saw the floor plans. We could have created, this property had so much potential. It could have been a 16-bed HMO, it could have been 6 one-bedroom flats, or it could have been a pair of semi-detached house, 4-bedroom semi-detached houses. So again, I created the value in it by looking at the potential, and I sold it. I agreed a deal with the agent at 152, and I sold it for 175. It took me a week to do all that, and I made a sourcing fee of £23,000. In between that, I've done so many more deals. Last week, I've agreed to purchase a piece of land for £83,000, and it's already got planning permission for 6 2-bedroom apartments. Each apartment will be worth circa around £90,000, and I've already sold that piece of land for £123,000. So on that basis, I will be making the best part £40,000 on sourcing that deal for an investor. These are deals that investors can't get their hands on. But more importantly, because I've got lots of investors on my book who are either cash rich or are looking for a good deal. And when we say a deal, I'm almost spelling it out for them what they can do with the property. And not only that, is that if there's, in this scenario, the purchaser is going to be building it into a 16-bed HMO, and then I've got an office, a letting agency up in that location who will manage it for them. So it's almost like a 3-step process: source it, appraise it, and sell it. But those 3 deals alone, which I've done within the last couple of months, have made me £63,000 in sourcing fees. And the beauty of it is that I did not own any of the deals. I simply controlled them. Now, if I've only done 3 there, now if the national average wage is approximately between £20,000 and £30,000, I've doubled that within 2 months. Think how much more we're going to do this year. And you can do it as well. Just going through the process. Someone's put, can you explain the process that allows you to control the property from agreeing the deal with the vendor through to the sale? Depends. There's lots of ways of controlling the property. There's options. There's exclusivity agreements. There's lockout agreements. There's so many different ways that you can do it. It all depends on what you and your legal team are comfortable with. What I try and do is lock out the property for a period of 30 to 60 days with that vendor, which gives me an opportunity to find a vendor, to find a purchaser for it. And I've had these documents created by solicitors, property specific solicitors, so that if someone tried to go behind my back and do a dirty with the vendor, I've got some form of recall on that. I did not own any of the deals. I simply control them, which is something that both me and Neil are a big fan of. This gentleman here, Nelson Rockefeller. The secret to success is to own nothing, but to control everything. And if you think about it, all the businesses that myself and Neil are involved in are in businesses where we don't actually own the assets. Well, I own quite a large portfolio of properties, but in going forward, I don't actually want to own any more. I just want to control it and make my money from it, because you can make more money from
I
it
think,
by controlling it than actually owning it. Neil, sorry, you're going to say something there.
yeah, I was going to say just then, in terms of our strategies, Arsh, I think they're quite similar in that we do buy for the long term, but that we're not making our money from that. We're making our money on the controlling assets. I think that's really where we're making the most profit right now. It's from all the businesses and the assets that we own, so rent to rent, the sourcing, the other stuff. That's where we're making our cash flow, and it doesn't actually cost anything to do these strategies. Even with rent to rent and things like that, it costs a little bit of money, but not a great deal. I've done one recently that cost me zero, and it makes 700 a month or 750 a month, something like that. So yes, we are both investing for the long term, but we're not seeing any of that money right now. It's for the future. We're making all of our profits from the controlling avenues.
That's true. Okay, so moving forward, Neil, do you want to do this one?
Yeah, yeah, I love telling, going through this one because a lot of people are always shocked. If I'm at an event or I'm chatting to people and I tell them what I sell the deals for, people are always shocked and they go, they give you that look as if to say, are you lying or are you trying to trick me or or how is that possible? So the average property deal that's sourced for someone like myself or Arsh or anybody else that does source in the UK is about £5,000 each. I'd say that's about the average. Um, so a small house or a flat, maybe a two bed or two bed house or flat, it's about £3,000 sourcing fee. That's what they start at, and they go up from there. A larger house, so if we're talking three-bed house upwards, or a very small, say four-bed HMO, they're about £5,000 to £8,000, something in that region. A large HMO, so when I say large, I'm talking six, seven, eight upwards bedrooms, or a commercial property, that's about £10,000 upwards on a deal like that. And again, it depends because I just told you all about the commercial one that I could source on if I don't want to do it myself, and that'll sell for about 100,000 with planning permission. So that sort of a deal is just unbelievable. And then a plot of land, which I was talking to a developer about recently. I mean, he said he will pay silly money, 30,000. He wouldn't even blink at £30,000 or more. It's really crazy money if you can source this sort of stuff. And just coming back to what you were saying, Ash, actually, about the deals you've done and travel and things. A lot of the people I've spoken to who have done, maybe a course with someone else, like a sourcing course and things like that. I think a lot of the reason that certain people aren't successful in sourcing is because they don't grasp what you do, Ash, and what I do, in that we'll travel anywhere we need to if there's a lead that comes through or a deal that comes through. Some people say, oh, I don't want to go more than 20 minutes and things like that. Yeah, I can understand that if you're running, say, a rent-to-rent portfolio or if you've got your own property portfolio. But sourcing deals doesn't really work like that. If you're going to make 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 pounds from a deal, then why would you not drive, I don't know, 200, 300 miles? It doesn't really make much sense, to put your own comfort over that sort of money. So I'm the same mindset as Ash. I'll drive a long way if a deal looks really good. I'll do all my due diligence over the phone first, and then I'll drive up there and try and close that deal really because it's just silly money. You can make the same amount of money that most people do in a year in the space of a few hours of negotiating. So yeah, that's my view on it anyway. Should we go to the next slide? Yeah.
Yeah.
Ash, I'll let you take this one.
Okay, so let me just. So why do people buy these deals from me? Because they know that there are investors out there who are looking not just for BMV but simple market value deals all the time. And I can give you examples all the time. Like at the moment, what have I got for sale? Today, I went to have a look at a 16-bed HMO in Walsall. If you think that's of interest to you, it's going to be up for sale for 550, and it's generating rental income after all costs of £56,000 a year. So that's a good deal. I've also got another 4-bed HMO over in Darlaston, which is close to Jim Halliburton's territory, and that's generating £20,000 a year rental income net. That's on the market for 110 with myself. All these deals can be found on my website. So, sorry, that's just a slight plug there.
Come on, Ash.
Yeah, sorry. So you need to take off your property head and put yourself in the shoes of the average middle-aged professional. Because why would people buy property off me? Now, Neil, you've got me stumped with this. I didn't read this before I.
Go on, let me take it, Ash. So a lot of people, when you're in the property arena, you think like a property investor, and this is what I talk about when I'm running my sales events. You've got to take your hat off, the property hat off, and put yourself in the shoes of the person that you're sat in front of. So let's take the average middle-aged professional person, accountant, doctor, someone like that's got a fairly good job, solicitor, and they make a lot of money, and it just sits in the bank, or they try and invest, but they don't really understand it all properly. They diddle around with it. Okay, so you take someone like that, where they might be getting, let's say, 5% in the bank, or they might get 6-7% if they join an investment portfolio, or something like that. Okay, and then you offer them. So however, even 5% is incredible to the average saver. So right, it's something like that. Now you offer them something that might be making, say, 8 to 10% a year, 8 to 10% a year on a property, plus the capital appreciation. So their money is parked but increasing every year. Who would not be interested in doing something like that? Because what I'm trying to get across is you can't think with the investor head on, as if to say, well, why would someone pay market value on this property? Because they don't know any other way. A lot of people don't understand property investing. They haven't spent all the time that other people have learning and educating themselves in this. And a lot of the I'm talking about the middle-aged professionals, they don't really want to know. They've got busy lives, they've got their family, they've already got enough on their plate. All they want to do is get a good investment and park their money for the future of themselves and their family. That's what's most important to that person. I mean, what I always do, especially when I'm doing so going slightly off track, but it is relevant. Whenever I'm doing any of my sales work, or if I'm hired to consult for a company and it's a big contract, they always do the same thing. They're giving all these features and features and features of their company. Oh, we were established in 1926, and oh, we've done this. And I keep saying, look, people don't care. They're not interested. And when you say that to a CEO, and I say people don't give a beep, it shocks people. I say they're not interested. All they want to know is, what are you going to do for them? What is the benefit? And so that's all I do, and that's how I'm good at sales. I put myself in that person's shoes. Who are they? What is their life like? What do they want? And it's the same when you're sourcing deals from people. Don't just see them as a blank canvas. Look at that person. Who are they? What is it they want? Why do they want to sell this deal? What's their pain there? And how can you solve their pain? Because that's what you're doing. You're helping people. Someone might, it might be a property that their parents owned and their parents died and they don't want to go back in there because there's so much pain. That's just one example. There could be all sorts of things. you're helping people. So to summarize, a lot of these people just want to be armchair investors and build a pension pot, the middle-aged professionals. So that's why people would buy these deals from you all day long. Any deal you sort, you can always sell it. There's always someone waiting.
Neal, you
Okay, so yeah, yeah. So okay, so what now then? How do I make a business out of this? Is what most people are probably, you probably sat there thinking, this sounds fantastic. I really want to do this. How do I do it? The first step is the legal aspect. And this is if you think of building a house, this is your foundation. You're laying the concrete down. Okay, the first step. You've got to make sure you've got all the correct contracts, the correct paperwork, certificates. You've got to be fully legally compliant. And there is fully legally complaint. We'll have to change that, Ash, for next one. So you've got to be fully legally compliant all the way through.
sorry.
Oh,
Mate.
go back.
Yeah.
Go back.
No.
Yeah.
There we go.
Okay, yeah, there we go. All right. So next step is research. You must know your numbers like the back of your hand. And again, me and Ash can help you with this. We'll show you how to do all your numbers, because even before you go to that deal, sit down with the vendor, you've got to look at that property and you've got to say, right, what sort of area is this? Who would be interested in this property? Would it be a good investment? Would it be good as a family home? Who would be interested in this? A builder, a developer? What could I do with it if it was mine? What are the numbers? What could I sell it for? What could I flip it for? You've got to look at everything. It's all research. Next, you've got to build your business presence and start your marketing and sourcing campaign straight away to generate those leads. Without leads, you've got no business whatsoever. So you need to have a strong campaign. Next, get in front of as many property owners as you can, and you can use my 12-step sales system, which actually I can't really talk about on here because it takes so long to go through. But if you want to know more about that, just send me a message on Facebook or something. I'll explain more about that. But that's used throughout the world by, I'd say, probably 10. I used to say thousands of salespeople, but it's probably tens of thousands now. It's very, very powerful sales system. It's a science. It's not, it's not an art. It is a science now. And the next one then is building your investors database and start selling. And the interesting thing is most people think here, but how do I build an investor database? Or I don't really want to build an investor database. Well, actually, you don't need to, because Arsh has already got a database. So you don't even need to do that. You can just speak to Arsh and you can just do a deal with Arsh where he could sell that deal for you. And Arsh will take a fee from it as well. But it's a win-win. So it's just incredible, this network that you can build up. Next slide, Ash.
Okay. So as Neal said, that I've got quite a large number of investors, and as it stands today, I think we're just short of 50,000 investors nationwide who are looking for property. So would you think that if I put a deal out there and I package it in the right way, showing people how they can actually make money from the property that I'm proposing to them, that they will they purchase it? Do you think one person out of 50,000 will buy it? And
Yep.
I sell deals almost like every day. And this is one of my companies, webuypropertiesfast.co.uk. I was the first company in the Midlands to actually have high street presence. And I created almost like a place where vendors can come and sit in person to discuss their property issues. And here's my office, actually based on the high street in Wolverhampton. And we got quite a lot of publicity off it nationally, because normally when you're talking about someone who's trying to buy your property BMV, you'd think about a one-man band sitting at home on his mobile phone. But actually here you can come and sit with my staff and myself, and we actually talk through how we help them with their property. Yeah, and to be fair, we've made it sound relatively easy on this webinar, but with all due respect, it does take. There is a lot that you need to know to be legally compliant, and making sure that you do it to the best possibility of your to the best of your possible. I've completely forgot what I was going to say there. So yeah,
Best of your ability.
yeah, that's it. So, and then one person just put that. How would you value a HMO that brings in a net income of 25k? HMOs have got two different values. They've got a residential, well, they've got a commercial value and they've got a bricks and mortar value. It's up to you to try and figure out, taking into consideration all the other comparables around the property as to how you can value that property. There will be some deals that just don't stack up, and you will come across them without a doubt. You will get fired. It's almost like a dartboard. There'll be lots and lots of darts being thrown at. Some of them will stick and you'll make money from them, others won't. And that's the best way of describing it. What we've done is that we've created something, a weekend where we're going to be able to teach you everything that you need to know. And it's actually on Saturday, the 2nd and 3rd of May 2015, at a beautiful hotel in Dudley called the De Vere Village Hotel. And it's actually a spa hotel. Neil, I'm going to let you talk about this, my friend.
Okay, okay, great. So the actual course is over 2 days. What happened was, and it's the same with rent to rent and negotiations and all that. What happened was people were coming to our trainings and they were saying, "Look, we've come to you because some people were a bit like, you're our last hope. We've done this course, we've done that course. It's not worked. We've not got this, we've not got that." And so what we did was we organised a 1 day deal sourcing. And even after we did that, we thought, you know what, there's still something missing. So then we added in the second day, and people that came on it, the feedback just, I'd say it doubled, Ash, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
It went from sort of 4 stars to 4.9 out of 5 stars easily. Because and we'll talk about the second day, what we added on, which has now completed the circle in a way. But this is the first thing we're going to be doing on the first day then. We're going to be covering the most effective 10 strategies. So if you know about Pareto's law, these are the 20% of the strategies out there that are going to bring in 80% of the deals. And they're the most profitable deals as well. We're going to be going through posh sourcing strategies right through to the dog rough strategies, so you can decide which ones are right for you, because some involve cost, others don't cost you a penny. So you just decide what's right for you. And we'll also build a little campaign on the day as well. So you've already got your campaign ready to rock and roll. Next, I'm going to talk about effective copywriting. Ash, just go back one. Yeah, so we're going to be talking about copywriting. I'm going to be showing you all of that. My background is in marketing, and knowing how to write effective copy will just make the difference between you and everyone else. It's incredible, it really is. And get a lot more calls coming in, increase your response rate to your advertising and all of that. I'm even going to give you all of my leaflets, adverts, all my media, everything that I put out. So that will save you hundreds of hours of work and thousands of pounds of marketing and testing yourself.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm also going to be throwing in as well as a bonus some sales training. So, most people know me as the sales trainer. So not only do I train salespeople, sales managers, team leaders, I now train other sales trainers. So I'm going to be doing some sales training for you on a day as well, so you know how to negotiate more effectively. And it will be very simple stuff that you really get empowered by and take on. I'm not going to overcomplicate it. Okay, I'm going to give you stuff that you'll know how to use quite effectively. Then you're going to get all the legals, so all the right contracts, so sales contracts, exclusivity contracts, NDAs, which are non-disclosure agreements, option agreements, and so much more, because there's different contracts, and you've really got to look at which one you prefer to use, because different contracts work differently in different situations. We're going to talk about how to find and build up an investor database. That's if you don't want Ash to get a little bit of your profits. So we'll show you how to do that. And we're going to show you something that most other people don't, and that's how to work with estate agents and have them take you seriously, calling you with a lot of leads as well. Um, last week, I probably had 15 to 20 calls in offering me deals, and these were contracts on options and things like that. So a lot of them I wouldn't even have to put any money in. So we're going to show you how to get these calls in, then how to work with the commercial agents. So this is where the big money is, working with the commercial agents. We're going to talk about that. And then we're even going to go on to how you can keep a lot of the deals yourself. If your ambition is to build up your own portfolio, you want to have as least money down as possible, we're going to show you how to do that as well. So that's the first day covered. So there's quite a lot in there. It's not going to be a happy clappy day. There's no high fives and massages and all that, sort of stuff. It is intense. So if you're going to come to this, be prepared to work, because I haven't got time for people that mess around, chit chat. I'm there to get you started in this business and get you earning money. So that's my commitment to you. Let's go to the next slide, Ash. The next day, so this is what the missing link was. A lot of people were coming and saying, look, I've done this, I've done that, but I don't know how to do it as a business, run it as a business. I don't understand tax, I don't understand business and staff and contracts. So this is why I put all this together with Ash. We put our heads together. We got a couple of other experts in the business world. We put all this together, we threw it out there, and the feedback was incredible. So this is why we built this now. So we're going to start with showing you how to build your website up, what you need to do, show you some templates to use so you've got all that ready to go, how to create a highly responsive video to get leads in. So I like infographic videos, cheap to make, very effective. How to build up your presence through social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, etc. And then we're going to talk about building your team. So you need a power team, and I'm going to show you what you need in that power team, all the different tradespeople to have, what to pay them, etc., etc. Then it comes to building your team in terms of staff. So if you're going to build up a property company that's going to be quite big, you'll need to have a couple of members of staff. So I'll show you how to structure the contract for self-employment so you minimize your risk if they don't perform. The next thing we're going to talk about is systemization and efficiency. So we're going to talk about 14 systems that you need in your business if you want to increase your overall business effectiveness and save yourselves 20 hours a week at least. People always laugh and they ask, how do you have so many businesses, run all these businesses, and you still have time to just relax all the time? People call me and they're like, "Oh, you're answering your phone straight away." It's because everything's systemized for me, and I keep everything very simple. Whenever I hear people telling me or pitching ideas and businesses to me, and they're getting all these complex, this algorithm and that, and the analysis and blah blah, I just say, look, I'm not interested. The way I operate is so simple that anybody can do it, and I'm going to show you all of this in the different systems. Next slide, Ash. Okay, then we're going to go into tax planning. So this is going to be the very last talk from Simon Mitrovic that he's going to do on a tax talk. Simon's now no longer doing speaking engagements, so this is going to be the last one he does, and we're going to record this one. So if you want to hear Simon, and this is a special content-rich talk. He's not done this for anybody else. We've told him exactly what we want in there, and he's created this talk for us. So it's going to be profit and loss as well, forecasting, whether you're doing rent to rent, deal sourcing, any other property business, you need to understand profit and loss. So many people that came to me for help, and Ash actually, they'd messed up and they weren't our course attendees. They hadn't done all this stuff and they'd run out of money or they'd overspent. So we're going to help you not to get into that problem. Then we're going to tell you about a virtual office space and virtual landlines, because most businesses run out of money because their overhead's too high. So we're going to show you how you can have your overheads for about £20 to £30 a month, having what looks like an office and a phone landline and all that. We're going to show you how to do all that. Next, how to use your trade connections to build a small home improvements company, if that's something you want to do. I mean, it's just additional revenue, so it's worth doing. Then Ash is going to talk about exit planning from property, because Ash has got a very good exit plan. He's going to share it with you, and I think it's so powerful. And and so much more. We're going to have so much fun on the day. It really is an amazing experience. If you look at any of our testimonials, people say what an incredible weekend course our events are. They really are.
More importantly, I think one thing that we haven't put in there is that you get the option, and I don't JV with people very lightly, but what I have said is that for people that invest in myself and Neal, if you have a property deal and you can't seem to, or you don't know how to structure it, I'll JV with you so that I'll take the work, but it'll almost be like ongoing mentorship for you. Because all you do, you come to us and say, Arsenal, I've got this property. It's based in, I don't know, let's say it's based in Warrington, and I don't know how to structure it. What we'll do, we'll sit down with you and say, okay, this is what we need to do. We need to do this, we need to do that, we need to do this, and we need to put it out to the investors. And you may not have the investor database, but I do. So I'll be putting it out to my investor database. You'll see exactly what goes on, how it goes on. So it will be real lifetime training for you. And hopefully, after doing a couple of those, you'll see exactly how you can make a hell of a lot of money from it. So it's not just a course, there'll be a lot of ongoing support for you, and it can actually get you to financial freedom. Here's some of the pictures from one of the last courses that we did. The next one's on the 2nd and 3rd of May. And again, as you can see, it's quite a pretty packed room. And Neil, I'm going to let you talk about the pricing strategy.
Yeah, okay. So what we're doing is we're doing a special offer for you tonight. Instead of doing 997 for this course, we're actually going to do it for 590 per person. That's for the whole weekend. So I know what a lot of you are thinking now. Why is it so cheap and what's the catch? Next slide, Ash. Okay. So the reason is we seal the me and Ash will never talk badly of anybody else ever. Okay, so I just want to get that point across. What I will say is we see a lot of the other courses and we feel that they're overpriced for what they are. We just think it's too much money. So we believe in fair pricing, and we don't do any upsells on the weekend either. It's just pure content from sun up to sundown. So sometimes we might not leave that room until a lot later on, even though it's a 9 till 5 day. We've been there 7 or 8 o'clock at night sometimes because, like I said, our commitment is to you. So if you haven't gotten something, we're gonna. I don't care if I'm sat there till 1 o'clock in the morning and I've got to be up at 6 the next day for the next day. I'll actually sit there with you until you've got it, because that's our commitment to you. Okay, so it means that you'll leave with everything you need to start your sourcing business right away from that weekend. Next slide.
Neil, you still with us?
Yeah, I'm just waiting for the next slide. Okay, so if you're wondering, yeah, I really like all that. Can I just attend one day? It's not advisable, but yes, you can. Um, the weekend is designed as a 2 day course, but you're more than welcome to attend either day of the training, and we'll still give you a discount and let you come for 395 per day. Plus, we're going to do something quite special tonight, so stay on and listen to what we're going to do here. Firstly, we're going to allow you to bring a partner for just £47, and that, even though I've put on there, it covers the hotel, materials, and buffet meal, it actually doesn't. The day rate is a lot more than £47 because it's a spa hotel. There's so much there. The meal itself is about £35 a meal as well. So next slide, Ash. But just to give you an idea, that isn't exactly, it is an option if you want to do that. So what we're going to do is quite a special offer tonight. We're going to actually allow you to bring a partner with you for just £97 extra for the whole weekend. So that's only £345 each, or if you prefer, £173 per day. That's ridiculous in terms of cost. I feel embarrassed. £173. That's probably 5 times cheaper than anything else out there. So yeah, you did hear right. That's £595 plus the £97 for 2 people for the full weekend. So next slide. So if you think about return on investment then, which we always talk about a lot, what could you expect to get from your investment, 595 investment into the training course. Well, if with the 595, if you just came on your own, this isn't with a partner, and that would be just 20% of the commission from your first tiny deal. So, we talked about the starting deal, £3,000. That's just 20% of that fee. That's all it would be. So it's actually 500% return on investment from what you pay on your first deal. And that's, again, if it was just a very, very small £3,000 deal. So I don't know where else you can get a return on investment like that anywhere.
Okay, so what we're going to do, Neil, we're going to just quickly skip through some of these because I'm conscious of the fact that we've gone past our 9 o'clock point. We're going to be talking about
Okay.
some of the marketing and the deal sourcing, systemization,
Yeah.
the mind maps that we're doing. So that's something else that we'll be looking at on the day. Okay, and then
Smart.
not only that is that I've got a USB which I call a key to success, which has all my documents that I run my day-to-day lettings and also my own property business on. So I'll be throwing that in, and that's normally 295 for the day. And I'll be throwing that in for free. I'll be putting that down as a USB, as digital documents. So if you book tonight and you pay for it with tonight, you can actually have that for free. So what you'll be getting is a deal sourcing training day, a business building training day, all the contracts, all the legal documentations, the key to success USB, all your meals, and the mentorship. Membership to our secret support group, which is on Facebook, which is continuously ongoing. Not only that, you'll also have a one-to-one call with Neal after the course, as well as lifetime support with us over Skype with Neal. And that's well in excess of £5,000 worth of package. But today you can have it for £595 for the weekend for 2 people. Now, I'm not going to keep banging on about it, but the best way of booking on is by going on to arshalahi.com/events/deal sourcing. On the far right hand side, you'll see that you can book for 1 person, 2 people, 1 day, 2 days, and you can even book the hotels as well. That's a hotel that we'll be holding at on the 2nd and 3rd of May. These are some of the rooms that the hotel have to offer for £75 a night. And as you can see, it's got quite a luxurious swimming pool that you can take advantage of as well. Now you've got Neal's contact mobile number there, as well as his Facebook and LinkedIn, as well as my personal mobile number. Best thing to do is, if you are interested, book on immediately, because we only run small groups. We don't take on massive 70, 80 people in a group. We'll try and cap it to circa 30 people, which is a good enough number for everyone to be educated in. And not only that, you get a lot of knowledge from that. So if that's of interest, please book on. It's a great opportunity. It's a great networking opportunity. And more importantly, all you have to do is one deal and it's paid for itself. And once you've learned the skill and the system, it just keeps repeating itself. Hopefully me and Neal have shown you that it can work, and more importantly, it can be a lot less hassle than owning a property and having to deal with tenants, because you don't own the property. You don't all you're doing is you're managing the property and you're managing the process. Now, a couple of the questions that have come in. Someone put, isn't flipping better? As in the flipping strategy, isn't flipping the property better? It takes more time but make more money, especially in a rising market. I'd agree and disagree with that, purely because when you're flipping a property, you have to outlay the money up front. Now, I don't know about you, but no one has an endless pot of cash. And if you've only got, let's just say you've only got £100,000 to play with, if you put it in that one deal, you're now snookered, or you're now stumped until that property sells. There's no guarantee that that property is going to sell in auction or on the market. It could take, with the best will, it could take a day, and it could sell on the first time that you put it into auction. What if it doesn't sell? What's your exit strategy? Are you going to have to keep hold of it? Is your money now tied up in this property? With deal sourcing, you don't own it. All you're doing is you're presenting the opportunity, and you're being paid for that. It's about presenting it in a manner that works, so everyone works. Someone's put, is
We
there?
got, we got. I was going to say, if you go back to the slide for the booking, because just so the people that are asking how to book on can do that. If you go back to that slide, and then let's go through some questions, because I can see there's a lot of people that have got a lot of questions on here. So let's go through some of the questions.
Okay, so the first question was about flipping the property, and like I said,
Yeah.
when you flip it, you have to actually own it before you can. Well, technically, most people own it before they can sell it, and so in that respect, you may be tied up with your cash for a certain period of time, which will restrict you from going on and doing other things. Now, another question asked is, what are the other costs will be required to get the business up and running? Technically speaking, you'll need some money for marketing, you'll need some money for a website for people to contact you. But if you're going to act as that go-to person, really, the biggest thing that you'll need to do is network and get yourself out there by going out and meeting the agents, going out and making your presence known. Now, if you go out in Wolverhampton and ask anyone about Arsh in Wolverhampton, all agents will know who I am. Most investors will know who I am. Admittedly, it doesn't take 5 minutes to do, and it is a long process, but providing that you do it and you do it correctly, very easy for you to do. Someone's put, will this work in Scotland? You can source properties all over the world. Sorry, bear with me a sec. Can you just ask what's happened? You can source properties all over the world, whether it be the UK, whether it be Dubai, whether it be India. You see people selling stock all over the world. It's all about creating the opportunity, seeing how you can make it work. More importantly, selling it to people with the vision that you've got. Just quickly going through some of the questions. Will there be a rent-to-rent course? Neil, when's our next rent-to-rent course?
That is, I think it's after my wedding. Yeah, it's so I'm away for the whole of May. As soon as this deal sourcing course is over, I'm flying out to California for my wedding, which is going to be great. So the next rent to rent course is when I get back. So it's the 13th to the 14th of June.
Okay, so the next rent-to-rent course is in June. Um, as you can appreciate, we don't run these courses every month. We run them once a quarter. So if you think that this is for you and the strategy is for you and you want to make money from this strategy, now's the time, because why would you want to wait another 3 months to come on this course when you can learn about it in a couple of weeks' time?
Yeah.
Someone's ladies spot. When is the next sourcing course, Neil?
The next sourcing course, as
Yeah.
in what, after the 2nd, 3rd of May?
Can't make this one. When's the next one?
Right. The next one we've got is the last. Right. It's the 4th to the 5th of July, and this will be the last one now until late September, October time. So we're doing a quick one on the 4th to the 5th of July, and then that'll be it for a few months then. So we probably won't have another one for 3 or 4 months.
Okay. Are there any other questions? I
I
think
mean,
we've
Ash,
answered.
on that,
Yeah.
do you, I mean, what we normally do is if you want to book on one that we haven't sort of put on the website or anything yet, you can book on. All you need to do is just put in the notes, please book me in for July 4th and 5th, and we'll hold that special offer and that whole package that we offered you tonight. So you'll get all of that, and it won't, go up in price for the next course or anything. So if you did want to book on the July one, you're more than welcome. And also with that, some people were asking before about payments and things. We're quite unique in that we do accept any payment type, so American Express or anything really, where most people don't, and we are able to work out payment plans with you as well. If you wanted to come on a course and you haven't got the full cash right now, we can work something out for you, and And just on another side note, if you've got any more questions, or you think this is for you, but you've got something that's quite a question that's quite either personal or particular for yourself, you've got my phone number. It's on the slides. Ash, if you want to go to that for a second,
Yeah, sure.
go to my phone
One
number.
person has put, can we call you with ideas, stroke sounding board? The best thing to do is that if you have got ideas, etc., or you want to know a little bit about it, the best thing that I've found is that if you put it on our social forum, which has got
Yeah.
a couple of hundred people on there, not only that, to have a couple of hundred people putting their input in, they may have come up with ideas that we may not have come up with. So instead of calling us one on one, unless you want the deal to be secretive, and unless you've got some exclusivity and you don't want it to go public, then yeah, you're more than welcome to speak to Neil about that.
Yeah.
Alternatively, the best way is by going on our social forum, but unfortunately, the only way of getting access to that forum is specifically for course attendees. Now, I'll quickly go to the slide that Neil's talking about, which has got his phone number on. Now, another person has put, what kind of skills or talents do you need to do this business? With anything, Patrick, the best thing that you need, you just need communication skills. Not only that, Neil will teach you how to negotiate. So on the course, you're going to learn how to negotiate, and we're going to give you some real life scenarios. And I think Neil, on this one, do you do the role play?
No, we're probably not going to have time to do a full role play because it takes hours and hours and hours to go through. But we will do a lot of powerful techniques and stuff. But just to answer your question that you've just answered as well, Ash, in terms of what skill do you need? Well, you need rapport building. I'd say that's really the only main skill you need is rapport building. And what is rapport building? To me, it's an emotional bond or say a friendship between people. Um, and it's based on human liking, really, trust, um, and a sense of understanding and sharing of other people's concerns. So I can't remember the exact dictionary definition, but it's something like that. That's what rapport is. It's just relating to another person on a one-to-one level. If you can do that, and you care about people and you want to help people, and in the process you want to make an income from it, you can do this business.
Okay. Someone's, I think that's kind of the end of the questions.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, I mean, if that's the end of the questions, get booked on. Let's see you all on the course, on the next course. Come along and meet us, and I promise you, you will not regret it. Every single person that's come on our course has. I mean, go and look at the video testimonials. You'll see people are raving about these courses because it's just so unique in this industry, the property industry, because you've got Arsh, who's like I said, we're just different kettles of fish. We're yin and yang. And you've got me that's from a marketing sales background, and I've done property on the side for all those years. And plus, I've got my military background. You've got Ash that's done this since he was a kid. And you put it together with our no nonsense approach, and it really is a unique offering that no one else is really doing. Like I said, there's no high fives and all that sort of business. It's just pure content, and you need to do it. If you're not, we're on you straight away. Why haven't you done it? Let's get this done. Right, we do deal clinics, we bring in experts, we've got mastermind groups, there's just no way. The only reason you can ever fail at this is that you give up, that you quit. There is no way you can fail. It only comes down to you giving up, because we'll always be here to support you no matter what.
and then the final part is someone's put, how long before you make some cash? And that all comes down to you, Patrick. We can teach you everything that we know, but if you don't go out and put it to practice, the question is, how long's a piece of string? If you put everything that we tell you in practice the very next day, it'll be a very short period of time before you start making some cash. If you
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to look at it. You don't want to look at it as how quick, because if you have that mindset, how quick can I make cash? How quick can I make cash? You won't go into it with the right mindset. And I heard it beautifully said by Keith Cunningham years ago. He said, You know, some people come into an industry and it's like driving a car. They'll drive down the fast lane, and then when the fast lane slows down because there's traffic, they'll switch lane because they want to go faster in the next lane. And that is what he's talking about, is the next strategy. And the next thing, that lane stops, and where you were in the first place, that's gone forward. So you try, you go to the next lane, and you switch back. So really, it's not about a marathon. It's not about a sprint. It's more of a marathon. It's building a business that you know um, is going to be there for years to come. And the more you do it, the more money you're going to make, because you're just going to keep building up, building up, building up. People get to know you. They like you. More business comes in. More business comes in. That's the way to think about this. It's a long-term strategy.
Okay. I think on that note, Neil, okay, just one person's put, how can you source in a very active area like Reading, Crossrail Effect, Investor Frenzy? Believe it or not, Lee, you can invest. It's all about how you put yourself across and how you get yourself across to the people to start with. When you say it's like a frenzy, all these
Oh,
people are
there
getting deals. All these people are getting deals from somewhere. You've got to get in there. More importantly, all these investors are buying because you said it's a frenzy. You've just got to get in between. Remember, it's an ABC approach. A is your vendor, B is you, C is your investor. You've already identified that Reading has got a cross-rail effect, investor frenzy. All you need to do is get involved in the mixer. Very straightforward to do. The busier the market, it is easier tonight. Uh, I'm just having a quick flick through. Is it the same principle to source rent-to-rent deals? Believe it or not, sourcing deals and rent-to-rent is actually very similar. Um, I'm just quickly going through. I think that's kind of the questions. That's all the questions. I mean, if there are any other questions, you've got Neil and my phone number on there. I will be sending this recording out specifically to the people who have come on the webinar. If there are any other questions, by all means, come through back to us and let's see what we can do for you. On that note, I'd like to wish you all a very pleasant rest of the evening. Thank you for being with us this evening, and hopefully we'll see you on a training course in May. Neil, is there anything else that you'd like to say?
No, I mean, it's been fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us and staying with us for this long. I really appreciate it, and I really look forward to helping you to get where you want to go in life. So thank you.
Okay, take care. Have a lovely evening. Good night. God bless.